I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, let's talk about the current state of the market here, summer 2025, because you'll see on the news, and we get our real estate package every month from the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board. Inventory now is at all-time highs or very close to it. There is a lot of homes. Last I looked, there was something like 15,000 homes, I think, listed in the Vancouver Board. I might be wrong on that. I don't really look at the totals all that often. But for sure, if you've been reading the news, inventory is high for this time of year. It has been running high for over a year now. We're still selling homes, but sales are well below our 10-year average. But, you know, if you break it down, though, I did some quick searches here. I'm always working with buyers, as you guys know, and I've always got lots of listings. As I speak right now, I think I've got 9 listings right now. Everything from detached homes to luxury condos, studios, one bed. I've got it all. And I'm always listing stuff, new stuff every month. And I've got a pretty good beat on a lot of the stratas. But, you know, right now, from what I can see, I've got a few buyers that are looking for 2 and 3 bedroom homes. One of them is coming out here from Toronto. The other one's locals here. So I'm going through my preferred list of strata, some of the strata that I like that I think might be a good fit for them in Cole Harbour, Yaletown, West End. And, you know, I can't come away with thinking that, you know, we have got a lot of what I call unrealistic sellers out there. And that's one of the reasons why the inventory is high. And I'm going to say that, you know, probably 50% of our current inventory, if the realtor should just take this off the market, if that's really the price that you're hoping to get or something close to that. Because I've got news for you, it's not going to happen. You know, listen, things are selling right now. I've said last month, I told you guys, this market is very price sensitive. Price is everything right now. First off, hopefully you've got other things going for you. It's a good strata, well managed, doesn't have too many issues coming up or a bunch of levies or high insurance deductibles. That's the first thing. But after that, you've got to have, you know, you've got to be priced right for sure. If it's a good unit, it's been renoed, higher floor, nicer view, you can test it on the high side for sure. And then keep in front of it. Like I always tell my sellers, after 2 or 3 weeks, if we don't have any serious interest or any serious offers, it's telling us we're probably priced a little too high, and do a reduction slowly. But some of the stuff I see on the market right now on the MLS has been on the market 100, 200, 250 days. You dig a little deeper, it's had a relist 2 or 3 times at unrealistic prices. So I'll give you an example here. Strata in the west, in Yaletown, I had a unit for sale there late last year. I ended up selling it this past spring 2025. Very good unit. 2-bed, den, air conditioning, 10-year-old strata. Unfortunately, though, I had another unit probably superior to mine. It was a bigger unit, had 2 parking spaces instead of 1, higher floor, that we had a desperate seller, obviously. I'm not privy to the situation of that particular seller, but they priced it extremely well, extremely sharp. And, well, as a matter of fact, they had it on and off the market the previous year at higher prices, didn't sell it, then came back this year at a much more aggressive price. So aggressive, in fact, that I thought, okay, they're trying to shoot for multiple offers on this, but they weren't. They ended up selling it just below their full ask. My unit was a smaller unit, 1 parking instead of 2 on 4 floors lower. It made my job pretty tough. Now, I had to tell people, listen, that was a fire sale price. Maybe the seller had to sell, financial issues, whatever, and needed a quick sale. But it sure put the pressure on me. At the end of the day, I ended up selling my unit a little bit better price than this other unit. It took me another 6 weeks to do it, but it was tough. I go into the strata now, and I'll just give you an example. I don't want to give you too much specifics, but that one that sold, that fire sale price, was 1,300 square foot, 2-bed, 2-bath, high floor, 2 parking, sold for just over 1.2 million. I go into the strata now, and there's about 6 listings, but all these units are smaller. And we're talking 880 square feet, asking 1,350 is the best price one in there right now. So this one was 1,300 square feet, sold for 1.2 with 2 parking, high floor. This one is a mid-floor, 880 square feet, though there's about 6 of them. They're ranging between 1,175,000 to 1,350,000. So very difficult to sell those, because any buyer is going to go in and say, well, what was the last unit similar to this that sold and at what price? And they're going to say, well, geez, just 5 months ago, a unit that's 400 square feet larger with 2 parking on a higher floor sold for less than what you're asking on your 888 square foot unit. But I see this a lot right now. There's some that are priced right, and those are selling fairly quickly, guys. But there's other ones here that I just, kind of unrealistic sellers. They're anchoring their price to something that they were getting. These 880 square foot units were selling at around 1.2, 1.225, 1.250 back in 2021. But those days are over. We can't take a time machine and go back there. So my point I want to make here is, yeah, inventory is high, sales are down. Our active sales to listings ratio is balanced or even favoring buyers in a lot of categories now. But a lot of the reason for that is I see a lot of listings that are just sitting there in no man's land with price. You're not going to get that price. Now, these wouldn't be my listings. Or if I do try a higher price, which oftentimes I will with my seller, we're going to give it 2 or 3 weeks, and I want a verbal commitment that if we don't get our price or get some action on it, we're going to reduce it until we do. Do you want to sell, or do you want it just to sit on the market doing nothing? And that's what these are doing. I think these sellers are in a lot of cases, unless they want to drastically cut their price more in line with what the recent sales were, these are nowhere, they're in no man's land here with these. They're not even close. So they're probably not even getting any showings, because a realtor's, before they look at that, is going to say, well, what were the last couple of solds? They're going to see that, these units are $300K overpriced. I'm not even going to go near it. Some of them are tenanted as well, of course. So, there's no motivation there when you see that. Overpriced by $300K, tenanted, I'm not even going to waste my time on it. That's what most buyers, realtors are going to say. Now, Mr. Seller, if that's your unit, you might think, well, what do I have to lose? Well, what you have to lose is you're becoming you're racking up your days on market, hundreds of days on market, and you're unsold. And, this will affect your sale down the road. Realtors are going to look at this if you decide to get serious next year or whenever and price it right. They're going to see that you tried for 200 days at a much higher price. Pricing is everything right now, and why rack up days on market? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I'd take it off the market. So we've got a lot of that out there right now, guys. A lot of them are tenanted, of course, so that's the whole other thing too. They figure, what do I have to lose? I'll price it at $200,000 more than what the last sale was for a better unit, the last one. And hey, I got it tenanted, so I've got nothing to lose. And you don't, really, but you are just racking up days on market. It amazes me sometimes that realtors will take these listings, but hey, as I've told you guys, the top 10% of the realtors in this business do 80% of the sales. It's a feast or famine business. A lot of realtors, rookie realtors, they'll take any listing they can get their hands on. The unfortunate thing is here, they don't have a hope on this. They're going to spend the money to list it, probably not getting a lot of showings. Next year, they'll finally take it off the market, and then what's going to happen is the sellers will call me and say, hey, I tried it a year ago. I know I was overpriced. Now I'm serious, and I'm going to hire you to sell it, and I'm going to price it right and get it sold. So pricing is everything right now. A lot of unrealistic sellers. It's a tale of two markets. On the other hand, there are good quality units I see all the time. I'm buying them that are good strata, that are priced right, and those are selling in a pretty timely manner. But these ones that are just anchored to some price that they were getting 4 or 5 years ago, it's not going to happen. I mean, these are, as I say, there's one on here at $1,350,000, 880 square feet with 1 parking on a mid-floor. And again, I'll just refresh you. Early this year, 1,300 square feet, 2 parking, oversized storage locker, high floor, sold for 1.2. Now, it was the buy of the century. I'm not denying that. It was undersold. That unit, in my opinion, should have at least sold for 1.3, but I don't know the circumstances, and you get these from time to time. Desperate seller that has to get out quick. But some unrealistic sellers there that are anchored to a price that, we were getting 3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.